One of the hardest truths in life is this: the people closest to you can be the biggest reason you're not growing. Success isn't just about working harder, it's about choosing better. The moment you start letting go of fake people, distractions, and negative influences, you create space for real growth. This is not about being alone, it's about being aligned. Because the life you want can't be built with the people who are holding you back. The people you surround yourself with have a powerful influence on who you become, often more than you realize. Human behavior is shaped through observation, repetition, and environment. If you spend your time around individuals who complain, avoid responsibility, and settle for less, you will slowly begin to adopt those same patterns. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens quietly through daily exposure, small conversations, and shared habits. Over time, what once felt wrong starts to feel normal. This is why environment is not just important, it is everything. Your mindset, your standards, your level of ambition are all affected by the energy around you. When you are surrounded by fake people, you are constantly exposed to inconsistency, dishonesty, and a lack of genuine support. This creates confusion in your thinking. You begin to question your own direction, lower your expectations, and hesitate to take bold steps forward. Instead of being pushed to grow, you are subtly pulled back into comfort. On the other hand, when you intentionally place yourself in a growth-oriented environment, something powerful begins to happen. You start thinking differently. You become more focused, more disciplined, and more aware of your potential. Being around people who are serious about their goals naturally raises your standards. Their habits challenge you. Their mindset influences you. Their actions remind you of what is possible. It's important to understand that success is not built in isolation from your environment. Even the strongest individuals are affected by the people around them. That's why one of the smartest decisions you can make is to evaluate your circle honestly. Ask yourself whether the people in your life are helping you grow or holding you back. Are they encouraging your progress, or are they comfortable with your stagnation? Making a change in your environment may feel uncomfortable at first. You may have to distance yourself from familiar faces and provincial situations, but growth has always required discomfort. By stepping away from negative influences, you create space for clarity, focus, and better opportunities. You give yourself the chance to think independently and act with purpose. In the end, your environment will either support your success or sabotage it. The choice is yours. When you take control of your surroundings, you take the first real step toward building a life that is strong, meaningful, and truly successful. Not every relationship is as harmless as it appears on the surface. Some connections come with a hidden cost, one that slowly drains your time, your energy, and your sense of direction. Fake relationships often disguise themselves as support, but when you look closely, they lack sincerity, consistency, and true care. These are the people who show up when it's convenient, agree when it's easy, and disappear when it truly matters. The danger is not always obvious. Fake friends don't always create loud problems. Sometimes they create silent limitations. They normalize mediocrity. They make excuses feel acceptable. They distract you from your priorities with unnecessary drama, gossip, or negativity. And the more time you spend in that environment, the more your focus begins to weaken. Your goals start to feel distant, not because they are impossible, but because your energy is being consumed in the wrong places. Time is one of your most valuable resources, and fake relationships often waste it without you even realizing it. Hours turn into days, and days into months spent on conversations and activities that add no real value to your growth. Instead of moving forward, you stay in the same place, surrounded by people who are also standing still. It becomes a cycle. Comfortable, familiar, but ultimately unproductive. There is also an emotional cost. Being around people who are not genuine creates a subtle sense of unease. You may feel misunderstood, unsupported, or even doubted. This affects your confidence over time. You begin to question your ideas, hesitate on your decisions, and hold back your true potential. Instead of feeling empowered, you feel drained. What makes it more challenging is that fake relationships often come with a sense of attachment. You may have history with these people. You may share memories, routines, or a sense of belonging. But growth requires honesty. And sometimes the truth is that not everyone who started with you is meant to continue with you. Recognizing the hidden cost of these relationships is a turning point. It allows you to make more intentional choices about who you spend your time with. It teaches you to value quality over quantity, depth over surface, and truth over comfort. When you begin to distance yourself from what is not real, you create room for what is. You free up your time, protect your energy, and regain your focus. And in that space, you can invest in relationships that truly support your growth. Connections built on trust, respect, and shared purpose. In the end, every relationship either adds to your life or takes away from it. The key is to become aware of that difference and choose wisely. There comes a point in life when you realize that growth is not just about what you achieve, but also about what you are willing to walk away from. And one of the clearest signs of personal growth is the ability to set boundaries. Not harsh walls, not anger-driven reactions, but calm, firm decisions about what you will and will not allow into your life. Self-respect begins with awareness. It starts when you recognize your own value, your time, your energy, your focus, and understand that these are limited resources. When you don't value them, others won't either. People will take as much as you are willing to give, and if you never draw a line, you may find yourself constantly giving without ever feeling fulfilled. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about controlling yourself. They define how you respond, what you tolerate, and where you invest your attention. When you set boundaries, you are making a statement, not with words, but with actions, that your life has direction and purpose. Many people struggle with this because they fear losing connections. They worry about being misunderstood, judged, or left alone. But the truth is, the people who truly respect you will also respect your boundaries. And those who don't were never aligned with your growth in the first place. Walking away from toxic or fake individuals is often seen as a difficult or even painful decision. But in reality, it is one of the most empowering choices you can make. It requires clarity. It requires courage. And most importantly, it requires a deep level of self-respect. You are choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. When you begin to set boundaries, something remarkable happens. Your confidence grows. You start making decisions with more certainty. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself to everyone or seek approval for every step you take. Your focus sharpens because your energy is no longer scattered across people and situations that do not support your goals. It's important to understand that boundaries are not built overnight. They are developed through practice and consistency. At first, it may feel uncomfortable to say no, to step back, or to create distance. But over time, it becomes natural. You begin to see the difference between being available to everyone and being committed to your own growth. Self-respect is not loud, it is steady. It shows in the choices you make every day, in who you spend time with, in what you allow into your mind, and in how you respond to negativity. And when your self-respect is strong, your life becomes more focused, more intentional, and more aligned with who you truly want to become. In the end, boundaries are not a limitation, they are a foundation. They protect your peace, preserve your energy, and guide you toward a life that reflects your true worth. Real success is not something you stumble upon. It is something you build step by step from the inside out. It begins with the decision to take responsibility for your own growth, regardless of your current circumstances. Too often, people wait for the right moment, the right opportunity, or the right support. But lasting success doesn't come from waiting. It comes from consistent self-development and disciplined action. Personal growth starts with your mindset. The way you think determines the way you act, and your actions determine your results. If your thinking is limited, your results will be limited. That's why investing in your mind is one of the most important commitments you can make. Reading, learning, reflecting. These are not optional habits. They are essential tools for building a better version of yourself. Discipline is what turns intention into reality. Motivation can give you a temporary push, but discipline keeps you moving when motivation fades. It's the ability to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It's waking up with purpose, staying focused on your priorities, and following through on your commitments. Over time, these small, consistent actions create momentum, and that momentum leads to real progress. Success is also about clarity. You need to know what you're working toward and why it matters to you. Without a clear purpose, it's easy to get distracted or discouraged. But when your goals are meaningful, they give direction to your efforts and strength to your decisions. You begin to act with intention rather than impulse. As you grow and become more disciplined, something interesting happens. You start attracting better opportunities and better people, not by chance, but by alignment. When your standards rise, your environment begins to change. You become more selective about how you spend your time and who you allow into your life. You naturally move away from negativity and toward people who share your vision and values. It's important to understand that real success is not about quick results or temporary wins. It's about building something that lasts. That requires patience, consistency, and a willingness to improve every day. There will be challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt, but each of these is part of the process. They are not signs to stop. They are opportunities to grow stronger. In the end, success is not defined by what you have, but by who you become in the process of achieving it. When you focus on developing your character, strengthening your discipline, and staying committed to your purpose, success becomes a natural outcome. Build yourself, and everything else will follow. In the end, everything comes down to the choices you make about your environment, your relationships, and yourself. The people around you will either push you forward or quietly hold you back, in recognizing that truth is where real growth begins. When you understand the hidden cost of fake relationships, you stop giving your time and energy away so easily. You become more intentional, more aware, and more focused on what truly matters. At the same time, learning to set boundaries transforms the way you live. It strengthens your self-respect and gives you control over your direction. You no longer feel obligated to stay where you are not valued or to invest in connections that do not support your future. Instead, you begin to choose growth over comfort, clarity over confusion, and purpose over distraction. And as you shift your focus inward toward discipline, personal development, and meaningful goals, you start building a foundation that cannot be shaken. Real success is not dependent on who stays or who leaves. It is built on who you decide to become. With the right mindset, consistent effort, and a clear vision, you naturally attract better opportunities and stronger, more genuine connections. So, the message is simple but powerful. Protect your environment, value your energy, respect yourself, and commit to your growth. Walk away from what is fake, not with anger, but with confidence. And step forward with purpose, knowing that every decision you make is shaping a stronger, more successful version of you.